Imagine squeezing into your favorite jeans from 5 years ago, only to find the waistband greeting you like an old nemesis. That stubborn bulge around your midsection isn't just a nuisance at the fitting room. It's visceral fat quietly wrapping itself around your organs, boosting your risk for diabetes, heart disease, even dementia. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on visceral fat, what it is, why it's so dangerous, and exactly how you can reclaim your waistline and your health through science-backed strategies. Ready to fight the inner enemy? Let's dive in. Why visceral fat matters. Visceral fat sits deep in your abdomen, nestled around your liver, pancreas, and intestines. Unlike the pinchable fat under your skin, called subcutaneous fat, visceral fat is metabolically active. It pumps out hormones and inflammatory molecules that interfere with insulin, raise blood pressure, and stress your arteries. In short, visceral fat is a silent saboteur. You might not see it, but it's hard at work eroding your health from the inside out. It's linked to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. It contributes to chronic inflammation, a root cause of many age-related diseases. It raises the risk of cardiovascular disease and certain cancers. By targeting visceral fat, you're not chasing six-pack abs. You're protecting your life expectancy and quality of life. What is visceral fat? Visceral fat differs from subcutaneous fat in location and function. Subcutaneous fat sits just below the skin. You can pinch it with your fingers. Visceral fat nests around organs in the abdominal cavity, out of sight yet deeply influential. Key characteristics of visceral fat: hormone secreting. Releases adipokines like leptin and adiponectin that regulate appetite, metabolism, and inflammation. Inflammatory. Produces cytokines such as interleukin-6, IL-6, and tumor necrosis factor alpha, TNF-alpha, fueling systemic inflammation. Metabolically active. Expresses enzymes that affect cholesterol levels and blood sugar regulation more aggressively than subcutaneous fat. In evolutionary terms, some visceral fat offered energy reserves during famine. Today, with constant food availability and sedentary lifestyles, it accumulates unchecked, turning a survival mechanism into a health liability. Visceral versus subcutaneous fat. First, location. Subcutaneous fat is located just under the skin. Visceral fat, on the other hand, surrounds internal organs in the abdominal cavity. Next, is it pinchable? Subcutaneous fat is soft and pinchable. Visceral fat isn't. It sits deep inside the body and can't be felt from the outside. Health impact. Subcutaneous fat is mostly a cosmetic concern and carries a lower health risk. But visceral fat? It's a high-risk factor for serious conditions like diabetes and heart disease. Hormonal activity. Subcutaneous fat has low hormonal activity. Visceral fat is hormonally active. It secretes substances like adipokines and cytokines that increase inflammation in the body. And finally, fat cell size. Subcutaneous fat cells are larger and mostly store surplus energy. Visceral fat cells are smaller but highly dynamic and metabolically active. Takeaway: trimming your visible belly fat is satisfying, but slashing visceral fat is life-saving. How visceral fat impacts your health. Visceral fat's endocrine functions set off a cascade of harmful effects: insulin resistance and diabetes. Cytokines from visceral fat interfere with insulin signaling, forcing your pancreas to overproduce insulin. Over time, this leads to type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, increased levels of LDL, bad cholesterol, and lower HDL, good cholesterol. Chronic inflammation damages blood vessel walls, leading to atherosclerosis, liver stress, and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD. Excess free fatty acids travel to the liver, accumulating as fat deposits that impair liver function. Hormonal disruption. Visceral fat can alter cortisol metabolism and sex hormone balance, contributing to stress, mood swings, and low libido. Cognitive decline. Inflammatory mediators cross the blood-brain barrier, promoting oxidative stress and neurodegeneration, links to Alzheimer's and other dementias. Bottom line, Reducing visceral fat isn't about aesthetics alone. It's a cornerstone of disease prevention and longevity. Measuring visceral fat. You can't pinch it, but you can estimate or measure visceral fat through several methods. Waist circumference. Men, waist greater than 40 inches, 102 centimeters. Doctor's risk zone. Women, waist greater than 35 inches, 88 centimeters. We are in our risk zone. Waist to hip ratio. Divide waist circumference by hip circumference. Ratios over 0.9 for men or 0.8 for women indicate higher visceral fat. Body composition scales. Some bioelectrical impedance scales estimate visceral fat percentage. Accuracy varies, but trends over time can be insightful. Imaging tests. MRI or CT scans provide precise measurement, but are costly and generally used in research or when medically indicated. Pro tip, track waist circumference monthly. It's simple, non-invasive, and directly correlates with visceral fat changes. Risk factors for building visceral fat. Understanding what fuels visceral fat helps you dismantle its foundation. Genetics and age. Genetic predisposition can shape fat distribution. Aging slows metabolism and shifts fat to the abdomen. Poor diet. High intake of refined carbs, added sugars, and trans fats promotes visceral fat buildup. Sedentary lifestyle. Low daily movement and prolonged sitting reduce calorie burn and insulin sensitivity. Chronic stress. Elevated cortisol levels drive fat storage in the abdominal region. Inadequate sleep. Sleep deprivation disrupts hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin, increasing appetite and insulin resistance. Alcohol consumption. Excessive drinking contributes to beer belly by promoting fat deposition around organs. Actionable insight. While you can't change age or genetics, diet, exercise, stress, sleep, and alcohol intake are modifiable levers to cut visceral fat. Myth busting. Common misconceptions. Let's clear the fog on visceral fat myths. Myth: crunches melt. Visceral fat. Crunches build abdominal muscles but don't target fat underneath. Fat loss happens systemically through diet and full-body exercise. Myth: all fat is the same. Subcutaneous fat and visceral fat behave differently. Visceral fat is far more dangerous metabolically. Myth: starvation diets are the fastest solution. Severe calorie restriction slows metabolism, increases stress hormones, and often leads to fast rebound weight gain, especially visceral. Myth: supplements alone can zap belly fat. No pill outperforms a balanced diet and exercise. While some supplements can support metabolism, they're not magic bullets. Truth serum: sustainable habits create lasting visceral fat reduction, no shortcuts. Nutrition strategies to reduce visceral fat. Create a moderate calorie deficit. Aim for 300 to 500 calories below maintenance per day to lose approximately 0.5 kilograms per week. Emphasize high-quality protein. 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight per day supports muscle retention and satiety. Sources: lean meats, fish, eggs, dairy, legumes. Choose low glycemic carbs and fiber. Whole grains, legumes, vegetables, and fruits slow digestion. Curb spikes in blood sugar and insulin. Include healthy fats, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, fatty fish. Improve lipid profiles and reduce inflammation. Limit added sugars and refined carbs. Soft drinks, sweets, white bread, pastries drive visceral fat storage through rapid insulin surges. Prioritize whole foods. Minimize ultra-processed foods high in refined starches, trans fats, and additives that disrupt metabolism and gut health. Mindful eating. Slow down, chew thoroughly, and respect hunger, fullness cues to avoid overeating. Intermittent fasting, optional. 16 to 8 or 14 to 10 protocols may lower insulin and accelerate visceral fat loss for some individuals. Recipe example. Lunch bowl: grilled salmon over a bed of mixed greens, quinoa, roasted vegetables, topped with a squeeze of lemon and a drizzle of olive oil. Balanced macros, fiber, and anti-inflammatory fats. Exercise strategies to combat visceral fat. Aerobic exercise. 150 to 300 minutes per week of moderate intensity, brisk walking, cycling, or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous running HIIT boost fat oxidation. High-intensity interval training, HIIT. Short bursts of all-out effort, 20 to 30 seconds, followed by equal rest periods maximize post-exercise calorie burn and insulin sensitivity. Resistance training. 2 to 3 sessions per week, targeting all major muscle groups. More muscle mass elevates basal metabolic rate and improves glucose uptake. Increased non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT. Stand more, take walking breaks, use stairs, fidget. NEAT can burn hundreds of extra calories daily. Consistency over intensity. Aim for sustainable routines, 30 to 45 minutes most days. Regular activity trumps sporadic extreme workouts. Workout sample. Monday, 40-minute brisk walk plus 15 minutes bodyweight circuit. Wednesday, 20 minutes HIIT plus core stabilization. Friday, full body strength session plus 20 minutes cycling. Stress management and sleep. Stress reduction techniques. Deep breathing or box breathing exercises, 5 minutes morning and evening. Mindfulness meditation or yoga, 10 to 20 minutes daily to lower cortisol. Hobbies and social connection. Laughter and relaxation blunt stress responses. Sleep optimization. Aim for 7 to 9 hours per night. Maintain a consistent bedtime and wake time. Create a cool, dark, device-free bedroom environment. Limit caffeine intake after early afternoon. Poor sleep and chronic stress supercharge visceral fat through hormonal disruption. Quality rest and calm mind equals powerful visceral fat deterrent. Additional lifestyle tips. Alcohol moderation. Cap at 2 drinks per occasion, pair each with a glass of water. Opt for wine or spirits with a calorie-light mixer. Quit smoking if applicable. While quitting may temporarily increase weight, long-term benefits outweigh the risks. Posture and core engagement. Good posture engages deep abdominal muscles, supporting visceral fat reduction and back health. Hydration. Drink water steadily throughout the day. Aim for 30 to 35 milliliters per kilogram of body weight. Small daily tweaks compound into big changes over months. Supplements and foods that help. While not a replacement for diet and exercise, these can lend support. Green tea extract catechins may boost fat oxidation by up to 4%. Omega-3 fish oil, anti-inflammatory, improves insulin sensitivity. Probiotics, Lactobacillus gasseri. Some studies show reduced visceral fat over weeks. Polyphenol-rich foods, dark chocolate, 70% plus, berries, coffee, antioxidants that modulate fat metabolism. Magnesium and vitamin D, low levels correlate with higher visceral fat and metabolic risk. Caution: consult a healthcare provider before starting any supplement regimen. Tracking progress and staying motivated. Monthly measurements, waist circumference, body weight, progress photos. Fitness logs track workouts, steps, and active minutes. Food journals. Note meals and hunger levels to identify patterns. Accountability partner or group. Share goals, celebrate small wins. Set SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Motivational reminder: you're not chasing perfection. You're building healthier habits that shrink visceral fat and add years of vibrant living. Real-life success stories. Story 1. Sarah, 45, reduced her waist from 38 to 32 inches in 6 months by swapping sodas for green tea, walking 10,000 steps daily, and strength training twice a week. Her blood sugar levels normalized, and she dropped her prediabetes diagnosis. Story 2. Raj, 52, lowered visceral fat levels measured by DEXA scan by 20% in 4 months. His secret? A 14-10 intermittent fasting schedule, 30 minutes of HIIT thrice weekly, and cutting out processed snacks. Real transformations start with one small shift. Yours could be today's lunch choice or tonight's early bedtime. Action plan, your 7-day visceral fat kickstart. Day 1, measure waste, ditch sugary drinks, start green tea habit. Day 2, swap refined carbs for whole grains, 30-minute walk. Day 3, add one strength training session, prep a protein-rich dinner. Day 4, practice 10 minutes of meditation, log food intake. Day 5, try a 14-10 fasting window, hydrate with electrolyte water. Day 6, incorporate HIIT in 20 minutes sprint walk intervals. Day 7, review progress, adjust calories by -300 if weight loss stalls. Share your results with a friend or on social media for accountability. Consistency breeds results. After 7 days, reset goals for the next week. Final thoughts. Visceral fat may lurk out of sight, but its health effects are undeniable and reversible. You now have a comprehensive roadmap. Understand the enemy. Measure and track progress. Tackle diet, exercise, stress, and sleep. Leverage targeted supplements. Stay motivated with clear goals and community support. Start applying these strategies today, and in weeks, not years, you'll witness reduced waistlines, improved lab markers, and a new lease on health. Don't let visceral fat write the next chapter of your story. Take the pen back.